Hey YouTube, wanted to shoot this video. Had a lot of people asking questions about this. Of course, as you know, this is not legal advice. This is for information and educational purposes only. I'm not an attorney, nor do I provide legal, tax, or other advice. Use this information at your own risk. If you have a question about the law, you should seek an attorney licensed in your area. So tonight I wanted to talk a little bit about debtors' prisons and how they're absolutely illegal. But more and more Americans, whether they're facing it for a traffic ticket or some misdemeanor crime, are facing imprisonment because they simply cannot pay the debt. This is absolutely illegal and it violates the law. So let's go over a little bit about what's happened here. So it violates the 14th Amendment. Now, the 14th Amendment guarantees all Americans equal protection under the law. So therefore, if a rich person isn't going to get imprisoned for that particular crime, why should a poor person? Congress also made it illegal in 1833. But of course, most judges aren't going to look up the law. They're looking at their pocketbooks and to figure out how much money they can bring in for the city. Now, let's look at what the Supreme Court did. In 1971, we had a case decided, Tate v. Short. The court found it unconstitutional to impose a fine as a sentence and then automatically convert it into a jail term solely because the defendant is indigent and cannot pay the fine in full. So right there, I mean, that clearly states that debtors' prisons are out of the box. Now, in 1970, the court ruled that in Williams versus Illinois, that extending a maximum prison term because a person is too poor to pay fines or court costs violates the right to equal protection under the 14th Amendment. Then again, in 1833, ruling for Brendan v. Georgia, the court ruled that the 14th Amendment bars courts from revoking probation for failure to pay a fine without first inquiring into the person's ability to pay and considering whether there are adequate alternatives to imprisonment. So as you can see here, there's 3 cases upheld by the Supreme Court that are already in support of an 1833 law that is supporting really the 14th Amendment signed and given to us by our forefathers. As we all know, it's gone too far. People are getting put in prison for not being able to just pay court costs. So if you know somebody they're trying to put in debtors' prison or they're threatening to put in debtors' prison, contact the ACLU. They've currently got cases out there. They're working in many states right now. Don't be afraid to bring the light to the crime. All right, well, thank you, YouTube. Please like and subscribe.